Okay, welcome to session 9. In this session, I'm going to talk to you about that thing that you're going to eventually need that's very, very important in making your multifamily acquisition work, and that is a lender. Yes, you're going to need somebody to loan you money to take down one of these big multifamily apartment assets that you want to acquire. Doesn't matter what size it is, you're going to need a lender typically, because as in the ebook I teach, don't use all of your cash, leverage your cash for multiple deals, and of course the other part of the leverage is money that is loaned or borrowed from lenders. The best thing that you can do is get yourself a really good broker, a mortgage broker, because a mortgage broker can match up with you the many products that he's aware of to make the deal happen. And he can take all of the information that he knows about you, your credit score, your liquidity, your experience, the equity that you have in the deal, how much skin you have in the deal, all of those and more, and match them up with the right product to put into your asset. And that's key. You got to have the right mortgage or lending product to maintain the profitability of your asset, your project. And so what you want is a lender that is savvy, is a mortgage broker that is savvy, knowledgeable, experienced, somebody that is creative, somebody that's persistent. These are qualities that I have found to be very useful in mortgage brokers. But essentially a lender is going to be looking at a few key things to see if your asset, if the project works, and if you or your team are able to loan on that project. So they're going to look at the following things and more, but basically the following things. How much skin do you have in the game? How much money are you putting in the game? How much sweat equity, or what is your position, or what is your credit, or what is your amount of ownership? Now, a lot of lenders don't really contemplate sweat equity as a skin in the game item, but they will take it as an influencing factor about how serious you are in the asset and in the project. So, but mostly they're looking for money and credit, and they're looking for skin in the game, looking for your percentage of ownership. They're looking for your experience. They're going to want to know who the investors are in the project, who's the lead team, who are the general partners, and how much experience do they bring to the table. Look, if this is one of your first deals or your first deal and you don't have any experience, you need to wrap yourself with people who have experience in the multifamily game. Project management, property management, general partners, people that have experience with lenders in the multifamily space. Team up with them. They'll participate with you in ownership of this project, and they'll help you obtain a loan by virtue of their experience. And as you gain in experience, when you begin to go for loans in the future, now your experience begins to take over, and pretty soon you'll be the one that is partnering up with somebody who brings you a really great deal, but might not have the level of experience needed. So the lender is going to want to know who the investors in the project are, what their background is, and what their level of experience is. They base your loan on what they call debt service coverage ratio. In other words, how much more money are you making than what you need to make the payment? And that ratio starts at about 1.25 and goes up. So anything better than 1.25, a lender is typically very pleased with that. So when you do your underwriting and when you do your analysis of the deal and when you factor in your debt service, you're going to want to make sure that you're at 1.25 or better, 1.25 as a conservative measure or better, so that it makes sense to your lender. Obviously, they're going to want to know the cap rate, the capitalization rate at acquisition. They're also going to want to know what your anticipated cap rate will be at disposition when you get ready to sell it, because that'll indicate to them how much profitability you intend to make on this particular asset. They're going to want to know things like the scope of work for rehab. They're going to know those costs and how they affect the deal, and they're going to want to know, especially in the matter of a value add product and acquisition, what you intend to do specifically to add value and equity to that asset. Are you going to raise rents? Are you going to rehab and raise rents? Are you going to look for other streams of revenue on the property? Are you going to improve management? In other words, what are you going to do to make that project profitable? And they're going to want a clear explanation. They're going to want a business plan, and they're going to see that you and or your partners or both can perform and execute on that business plan. They want to know simple things like, how long do you plan to hold it? What's your exit strategy? How are we going to get paid? What are your exit costs? In other words, what is the profitability at the end of the road down there, and does it make sense to them numbers-wise? Look, my experience with lenders are lending underwriters, they're number crunchers, and we need those people in our world because they help us verify and validate our deals. But it is up to you as the investor and operator to prove to them with facts your business plan, to prove to them the projections of your deal and how you plan to make that deal profitable and how you plan to make money at the exit of that deal. This helps them know your deal and gives them the confidence in loaning money against your deal. They're going to want to know about the product itself. What is the vacancy rate? What's the market absorption rate? What are your average occupancy rates? They're going to want to know just not only your property, but the comparables in the area, so that they feel comfortable that your asset, the asset that you're trying to get a loan on, makes sense based on average or normal market conditions. And of course, they're going to want to know all the other things like your potential gross operating income, your expenses. They're going to want to know who's going to actually do the day-to-day management, who's going to manage the accounts, who's going to manage the money from the company that you buy the asset, the entity in which you buy the asset. So basically what they're looking for is a solid business plan from you, and they want to see you make that pitch to them in a sensible way and in a way that makes sense for them to make the loan. All right? So other considerations that you want to think about when working with lenders. Some lenders or some deals require what's called full documentation of the borrower and the partners in the deal. In other words, they want your income tax returns, they want your bank statements, they want other business plans, and sometimes they'll even get you to sign a document that says that they can go ask the IRS for your income tax returns to verify it. That's cool. You don't have anything to hide. That's cool. Okay. Sometimes an application is called a stated income application, and other times it is that what's called the 4506T form. In other words, they want to verify all of your income from usually the past 3 years. All right. Always go for a non-recourse loan. In other words, a loan where, a non-recourse, there are two kinds of loans. Two kinds of loans. My mind is going a whole lot quicker than this video. There are two kinds of loans. There are recourse and a non-recourse. A recourse loan means that you, the borrower, if something goes wrong on that property and that property goes upside down, you, the borrower, are personally responsible to pay off that loan. And they can come after you and your assets to satisfy that loan. A non-recourse loan is just the opposite. By the way, I'm giving you the simple definition here. The non-recourse loan is just the opposite. In other words, if something happens to the property, it goes upside down, they will sell off the asset to recover as much of their investment as they can, and they don't come after you personally to satisfy the asset or the deficiency from the sale of that asset. But you always want to go with a non-recourse loan. And why would banks give a non-recourse loan? Well, banks are going to, or lenders are going to give a non-recourse loan because the deal makes sense. The underlying asset, the underlying leverage makes sense. Therefore, it's incumbent upon you to find a deal that makes sense and to underwrite it and create a business plan that is solid, steady, makes sense, has a great exit strategy, and is convincing to the lender. Always read the fine print in your loan documents. You should have plenty of time to do that. Make sure that they send you the loan documents in plenty of time. Have your attorney review it. Look, if you're making a loan for $5 or $10 million and you're putting your signature on it, you want to read the fine print. You want to know the terms and conditions, and you want legal counsel, legal advice to help you know what your responsibilities are in a loan of that magnitude. A good broker is a valuable asset to have on your team. He or she will access many products and fill your asset with a variety of products for your investment loan needs. Build that relationship. It's an ongoing relationship. And by the way, it's cool to have 2 or 3 or more brokers, because sometimes they have areas of specialty. Some deal with different kinds of debt and different kinds of loan. So it's good to make relationships with multiple brokers. Okay, that is your session today. The basics of lending and lenders and dealing with a broker. Go out and make those relationships. Find out what the current environment is in lending and mortgage lending for these kinds of assets that you are investing in. And I will see you on the next session.